The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Just after 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 24 minutes to go until the start of trading. Hope everyone had a good three-day weekend out there. We're back into market action. Looks like we got a debt deal. We'll see how the voting goes. That's going to be a different story. Voting probably going to take place tomorrow, I believe, on Wednesday. And yeah, that'll be an interesting one to say the least. Nonetheless, the market likes the fact they have a deal. We're up by 24 points in the S&P. We're up by 200 in the NASDAQ 100. Dow negative by 4 points, right? Talk about a little bit of a divergence. Russell up by 6 this morning. You jump over to crude. How about some volatility in the crude contract, man? What just happened even in the last hour or so? You got crude spiking below $70.50 right now. Crude spiking lower. Did we get a 69 handle today? Maybe we break below that level. You got gold accelerating higher up to 1980. We're back to 1973. You got silver basically flat off 8 pennies this morning, and we got notes. Higher price is what I was going to say, and lower yield, but we're pairing some of that action right now as you just gave up, 10 ticks in the 10-year right now? We're still positive by 16 ticks right now in the 10-year. You jump over to yields, you're talking about 3.74%. 3.74%, man, the yield in the 10-year right now. The 30-year is up more than a full point, even though it just gave back, half a point from where it was just about an hour and a half ago. You got the 30-year up a full point at 127.04 right now. You jump over to the dollar index. And there's some action for you. Anytime you get that type of move in yields, folks, you get that type of move in metals as well. You know there's some action in the currencies out there. You get the dollar index just traded from 104.5 to below 104. We're back to 104 right now. We're technically negative 14 ticks on the session. But volatility in both directions on the dollar index. You jump over to the volatility index right now. The market likes the debt deal. We'll see where we go from there as the voting hasn't even begun yet, but the VIX back to a 17 handle, 1710 right now in the volatility index. And back to the S&Ps as we kick off a short trading week, 4 days this week. And we're coming into a Fed meeting 2 weeks from tomorrow, folks. Tomorrow, last day trading of May, June 1st is on Thursday. We have a meeting June 13th and 14th for the Federal Reserve. So 2 weeks from tomorrow, man, as the focus. The moment we get past the debt limit, it's going to be interesting to see when this market starts going forward looking on the prospect that the live meeting in June is super live, man. We'll call it a super live meeting, as it seems like everything's a little hot right now. And we'll see where we go from here. Now, one of the things we have been talking about, right, is it is going to be interesting once a debt deal gets done. Treasury's going to have to go to the public. They're going to have to raise about $1 trillion. That's going to take liquidity out of that market. It's going to tighten things up. It's going to be akin to another hike. So imagine, right? You got a debt deal done. That's going to flood the market with treasuries as the Treasury has to raise money. So they're going to suck a bunch of liquidity out of the market. What's that going to do? It's going to make things tight. And what's the tightening going to do? It's going to come right as we get potentially another hike. We'll see if the market pays attention to it. Right now, not so much, man. We just got all of it back. Market from last week trades down 100 points, trades up 100 points, folks. The volatility is not going away. As long as we get inflation raging at about 5%, folks, volatility not going away anytime soon. We got a two-way market, to say the least. Let's jump around to a little housing prices that just came out. You got home prices decline is the headline. Home price declines may be over as the headline. S&P Case-Shiller says, was that a small pullback for you? Did you even see it in the real estate market? Is that how it's supposed to work? So if we had no pullback, and yeah, we had a pullback, okay? But for the move that we had in real estate, folks, could you even feel the pullback? I mean, yes, the market's tightened, okay? If you put your house on the market, yeah, it might not have sold immediately. I mean, there was a rabid environment for real estate, for a period of a couple of years there where you could just go to the market, put your house on, You definitely got above asking. You got multiple offers. That had changed, okay? But take things into consideration here that you had mortgage rates go from 3% to 7%, and the market barely pulled back. Well, what happens when we start to turn? Now, I just told you we got a super live meeting coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow. They may hike again, but we are going to be on the cusp of that, folks. The Fed will get inflation under control, man. It's going to happen. That's why I think this is a super live meeting. That's why I think they might go again one more time. The risk to everybody, the risks to the economy is much more so, and the Fed keeps saying it. And if you understand inflation, folks, and we're all getting a quick understanding of how it works over the last couple of years, inflation crushes economies, period. Can't let it happen. Fed knows that. They're going to make sure it is over. It's taken a lot longer than we thought, right? The Fed keeps hiking, though, okay? You can't argue that they are there for the battle, man. They will get it under control. What's going to happen when people who are willing to buy a home at 7% mortgages have the ability to buy them at 4 and 5%? Well, you know what happens, folks. That same payment that they were willing to make at 7% mortgage, well, guess what? That increases the value of the home that they can afford by an exponential number. Yeah, to say the least. Yeah, right. My dad's texting me. I got him going. I talk a little real estate. That gets him going. He picks up the phone. Yeah, seriously. So to get into it, nationally, home prices in March were 0.7% higher than March 2022. Absolutely remarkable, man. Housing. After seasonal adjustments, prices increased nationally 0.4% in March compared with February. 10-city comp, 0.6%. 20-city comp, 0.5%. Where's Tampa in here? It's got to be up like 17%. No, I joke. Not quite, but it's always one of the leaders in there. Now, one of the most interesting aspects, though, okay, the stark regional differences. And that's kind of what I point to, okay? The Southeast, up 5.4%. Not kidding, folks, okay? Versus what? Seattle, minus 12.4. San Fran, minus 11.2. The West, minus 6.2. I keep saying it, man. You got the wind at your back in Florida, and you always want to have the wind at your back, folks. And that's a different deal in terms of we're very fortunate to have the real estate market we have, because you can make mistakes and get bailed out by the market. Very difficult to do when you're in a market like Seattle, San Francisco, some of the western areas, they're sinking 5 to 12%. I had a teacher in college at Villanova once that told me, he said, what would you rather be, right? Would you rather be in one of the best companies in an industry that's shrinking, or would you rather be in one of the worst companies in an industry that's growing? You always want to be in the place that's growing, folks, okay? Because you got the wind at your back. You always want to be in the area that's growing. It's the easiest question out there. I remember that question, which is remarkable, because you're talking about more than 20 years ago, and it's literally amazing how certain moments, I mean, think about that, right? Certain moments. I mean, you think about all the moments, all the things a teacher says to you in college. Okay, I'm talking about 4 years of education, everything that goes into it, the memories that somehow you save in your mind. And I remember that because it's an important thing to think about. And it goes to real estate as well, right? It goes to the market as well, man. You know, everybody's a genius in a bull market, right? That's what they say. You can buy anything, okay? In the real estate market, the same is true here because you're seeing it. But remember that one in industry as well. You want to be in industries that are growing. You don't want to be in the leading company of an industry that's shrinking, because guess what? Even if you make good decisions, it's shrinking, okay? You're fighting for a smaller pie versus fighting for a bigger pie. And in Florida, we're lucky, man, because real estate. But hey, looks like real estate's going up again. We will see. Stay tuned, folks. We're coming back talking to our man Kevin Hincks from TD Ameritrade Network. Don't go away. We'll be back in 3 minutes. If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&P up by 26 points right now. You got the NASDAQ up by 201. We got stocks accelerating higher right now. Let's jump over to our man, Kevin Hincks from the TD Ameritrade Network. Every trading day, folks, 12 noon Eastern time right here on Tiger TV. Fast Market with your host, Kevin Hincks, Tom White, the whole team. They do an outstanding job, folks. They got some great guests. They walk you through hypothetical trade setups, talking about options, talking about defined risk. And we still got some pretty cool companies coming out with earnings this week, let alone the volatility of everything else going on. Kevin Hincks, good morning.
Good morning, Tommy O'Brien. Yeah, good week for earnings. Unfortunately, they're really concentrated to Wednesday afternoon and Thursday afternoon. Things are getting a little thin here as we enter the final month of the second quarter, Tommy. But we still have plenty to work about. To start the trading week, Tommy. The debt ceiling, very interesting, but the market's reaction to the debt ceiling and the earnings is a little head-scratching, Tommy. I mean, the dollar down, yields down to start the week. I mean, we're going to get more inflation data coming up on Friday, Tommy. It's going to get interesting. So this is one of those mornings where the market's dealing with a lot of things over the weekend, a lot of news, a lot of headlines. This is one of those days where you want to see where the dust settles at the end of the day. Don't judge this market because it's green across the board as being just an obvious up day. This might be one of those days where it's a long trading day, and this is just the beginning, Tommy. There's a lot going on. As you know, the Fed Watch tool is now at a 65% chance for a 25 basis point hike in 15 days. So once this, the debt ceiling news is mostly good. The big winner, I think, is Joe Manchin from West Virginia. He got a lot done in this deal. I think the headlines that you're going to see people coming out on the fringes of both parties screaming about it, well, the moderates in both parties are probably going to pass it. So this is not going to need them to get done. So I think this is now just a formality. Wednesday, the House will vote whatever day the Senate does, and then it's done, Tommy. So that part's behind us. Now we just got to deal with the yields that have risen significantly, the dollar that has risen significantly, and a market, Tommy, that is getting driven higher by about 7 stocks.
I was going to say, Kevin, is the NASDAQ 100 ever going to go down again, man? I joke, but, man, what? So, of course, you got a bunch of listeners out here. You can't help but look at, stocks like NVIDIA. It's trading higher again. It closed at almost 390 on Friday. We're pushing 405 this morning. Microsoft, Amazon, you said it, 7 companies driving this market higher. What do you say to some of the investors out there, Kevin? Because, boy, watching this happen, we're all seeing the power of AI in front of our faces as it's going to reshape a lot of what's going on. Kathy Wood out there saying NVIDIA is too expensive. Well, of course she has to say that because she missed kind of that acceleration, the last part of it at least. But what do you say to investors that look at some of these equities, say, Kevin, and say, is it too late right now? I mean, you got whether it's Microsoft, man, Google, Amazon, and especially NVIDIA. What's your take on some of these companies, man? I got NVIDIA at almost $100 in October, Kevin, and we're trading about 400 right now. Remarkable.
Okay, Tommy, I'll give you a little perspective on this. During the pandemic, right, when streaming was so incredibly popular during the pandemic, Disney, right, got into the streaming business, and they were in streaming, and it was $203 on Disney. It got up to. Well, Disney's 88 now. Why? Competition. You think there's not going to be AI competition out there? So careful of everyone in the world getting into AI, and how does that, there's going to be winners and losers. And so all I remember is this market loves headlines and memes and things like that. And a year ago, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, it was all about streaming. Now it's all about AI. It's destined to run out of gas, Tommy.
Well, don't tell Netflix shareholders that we're pushing $360 on Friday morning, and what are we pushing?
That's
400
this clear winner.
Yeah, I was talking to my dad this weekend, Kevin. We were hanging out on Sunday, and we were both saying that we got that notification. I don't know if you got it, folks, this weekend that made you choose your home network. And we both said, man, they're going to get a lot of signups, man, and we said, maybe we should buy some Netflix. Well, it's up $40 from where it was Friday morning. Maybe we missed a little bit of that trade. Absolutely remarkable, but you're right, man. They're a winner. And from my own perspective, folks, you pull that up, right? I got, whether it's my mom's using it, we all know somebody that's using somebody's account. And boy, it was a pretty stark warning. I don't know if you've seen it, Kevin. You pull up the Netflix and say, ooh, okay, they mean some business here, man. They're gonna really corral everybody. And yeah, I think a lot of people are gonna have to end up sign up because a lot of people are using free accounts on Netflix, folks. Pretty interesting. With that in mind, Kevin, you mentioned it. We got a Fed meeting 2 weeks from tomorrow, but we do have some companies coming out Wednesday, Thursday. What are you guys talking about on Fast Market at 12 today?
Yeah, like I said, not a lot of great names coming out today. So what we're going to do, we're going to work later in the week with some of the names where it gets a little crowded. We'll look at CrowdStrike. We'll look at Salesforce. We'll look at TUI and JW Nordstrom. We got a lot of names. We're going through them right now, trying to figure out how to space a lot of names that we have later in the week. It's going to be a good week for earnings. Unfortunately, it's all Wednesday and Thursday. So we're going to cover a couple of them to start the week and work our way through the group. But, we do it. Lululemon's going to come out this week. We've got, like I said, Salesforce, CrowdStrike. Yeah. So we've got some good names. We're working on them right now, Tommy.
Nice.
But we'll have some good names for you coming up here at 11 o'clock.
And I was jumping through some of those charts as you were naming those equities, man. Some pretty interesting runs. CrowdStrike, man, $92 back at the beginning of the year at 154. Salesforce almost doubling this year, man, from 126 the end of last year. We're pushing, 222 right now. Pretty interesting action, Kevin. We get to find out 2 weeks from a Fed meeting tomorrow, and we got a debt vote coming in ahead of that. I appreciate the time on a busy morning as always, Kevin. We'll be watching at 12 o'clock today, man. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks for having me on, Tommy.
Always a pleasure. Folks, check it out. And yeah, we got some good companies coming out. It seems like they just keep coming. Every single week, we got some good equities with earnings. We got them this week as well. And as Kevin said, right, we got CrowdStrike, we got Salesforce, you got Lululemon in there this week coming out as well. Look at the drop off on Lululemon. Look at that. right? From $3.89 earlier this month, man, you're pushing $3.40 on Lululemon. Quite a different story when you jump over to a company like Salesforce, the cloud, the data that's controlling all of us, man. Salesforce going to open up another $6. Remarkable, these equities. I mean, look at Amazon even, right? You see the run Amazon had? Almost 5% this thing was up on Friday, and boom, we're going to be up another almost 1.5% this morning to 122. Folks, you back it up 10 days. Amazon was at 109. We're pushing 122 right now. Microsoft, a huge gainer, right? Microsoft was just trading at 314. We're pushing 335 right now, let alone the run it had. You back it up on a daily. And this is where, I mean, that's where experience pays off, folks. I love being able to talk to Kevin a few days a week in the morning, listening to Fast Market at 12 o'clock every day. He's got a great saying, folks. You know, at any price, something can be too expensive or too cheap, no matter how good that company is. So be careful as things get a little lofty here, because think to yourself for a second. Could the market be more excited about AI right now? I don't think it's possible. NVIDIA set the stage, okay? That's going to be a historic day when AI really took off. When NVIDIA changed their forward-looking revenue from $7 billion to 11, everybody figured out the race was on. But sometimes optimism gets a little bit ahead of itself, folks, so be careful. Microsoft, only about $13 away from all-time high. Stay tuned, folks. We're coming back for the open. Don't go away.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has just launched their new trading room, the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. And now they are expanding their reach with the Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. In the Tiger's Den, you can look over the shoulders of Tom O'Brien and the other TFNN hosts while they analyze charts during their live Tiger TV programs, and join an interactive trading community with hundreds of members exchanging ideas. Interact with other tigers and tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day, even at night and on the weekends. The Tiger's Den at Discord is accessible on mobile or tablets as well, so it's always at your reach. To sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders, just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&P up 21 points, NASDAQ 100 up 180. I got a chart, long-term chart. This is a monthly of Microsoft here. You can't even see where this thing was trading. You go back to the early days of the 2010s, trading at $20 and change in 2012. Trading at $45 in 2014. You're trading at $334 right now on Microsoft. Now, I bring up the article talking about, let's check out NVIDIA. Let's do NVIDIA now. NVIDIA shares, can't even find it on the chart. How about $4 in 2014? How about a 100-bagger? Yeah. How about trading during COVID down to about $45? That's a 10-bagger, okay? Now, the article here is about Cathie Wood, okay, and talking about NVIDIA's too rich. Now, folks, I've talked about it, okay? This is a tough one because in the environment that she's in, if she really has the expertise she has, it's never been a better 5 years than you'd experience. And meanwhile, yeah, you got ARK catching a bid because finally some things are accelerating, okay? But you are basically back to where you were trading at the beginning of 2018, which is more than 5 years ago, folks, okay? And she has a 5-year time horizon. Well, you know, technology has taken off for that time. And I just walked you through a couple of the companies that are really accelerating where they are over that time, okay? I bring it up because the article is about NVIDIA. Okay, and it's talking about too rich for Cathie Wood. But what I do want to point out here is some of the metrics she comments on, because metrics matter, folks, and boy, they're getting pricey, man. Now, this is not talking about price to earnings. This is talking about basically price to estimated sales, okay? The number that NVIDIA is trading at, okay, puts NVIDIA at 25 times estimated sales for the current financial year, at which NVIDIA is trading amid investor enthusiasm for all things AI, okay? Now, they comment how the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index is at about 12 times, and Microsoft is pushing, hold on. No, excuse me. Yeah, the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index is at about 6 times sales, and Microsoft is at about 12 times sales. That might even be a scarier thing for Microsoft than it is for NVIDIA, because Microsoft has some pretty staggering sales, and you're telling me that company's trading at 12 times sales, not earnings, folks, sales. Imagine you got a company, they do $1 million in sales. There's a lot of companies that do $1 million in sales, folks, because if you're working for a 10 or 20% margin, that's only a $100,000 or $200,000 profit at the end of the year, okay? And I say only because it's $1 million business that you're running, okay? And $100,000 is one salary, is what you're pulling out of that business for earnings. But imagine that somebody comes to you and says, you're pulling in $1 million of revenue, okay? Maybe now margins are key here, okay? That's a big part of this because it translates into how much your sales go to margins, obviously. But just to bring into fruition here that NVIDIA, imagine that every dollar they took in was profit. They would have to take in their amount of sales that they're taking in. Every single dollar in sales would have to go to profit. They'd have to do it for 25 straight years, and then finally you would get your money back for what you paid for that company. Kind of illustrates the growth that is built into that equity. Like I said, Microsoft is almost a scarier notion when you're up to that level. Now you look at where they are, price to sales wise, okay, best price to sales, NVIDIA above where it was trading at in peak COVID, Microsoft pretty much above where it was at peak COVID. Philadelphia Semiconductor Index not quite back at that level. Well, keep that in mind, man, because things are getting a little lofty, is how I'll say it right now. I mean, market's ticking up. We're at 4240 essentially in the S&P. I'd keep your eye on that price level. You back it up to a daily right now, just above where this thing has had some resistance in terms of the market. August 26th, you're at a high of 4217. Next high could be 4,300 and change in this market. We'll see. There's always the potential for things to go a little bit awry, folks, in the debt deal, okay? Keep your eye on that as well, though. Because I agree with Kevin's take. The fringe elements of each party are not going to be happy because they want everything, okay? Government is about making deals, folks, okay? It's about coming to the middle and making a deal because not everyone agrees. Seems like they're going to have the votes to pass this, but the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, gave a lot away when he became Speaker. And one of those things he gave away is the ability for any member of his caucus to call a revote for speakership. It's going to be interesting if somebody makes a stand. I'm just putting it out. Call it a tail risk if you want, man. But politics are so divisive right now. We're coming into a political season. Presidential election is looming. And it's an easy place to make a name for yourself. And here's the thing. You want to say to yourself, right, well, you're not going to make a good name for yourself, right, because you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Unfortunately, a lot of members of Congress don't care because they only care about the people that vote them in for their power, not the people across the country. And it's an easy stage for somebody to make an impact, man. I'm just putting it out there because, you know, the headline that I got on Bloomberg, right, is, yeah, this is the hard part, man. Let me find let's see, where's the headline? I had it somewhere. I'll find it. Was it at the top? Let's see. Yeah, final test. Maybe it was the journal article I was reading earlier. I'll find it, as in, here comes the hard part. Yeah, we'll see. Either way, keep your eye on it, folks. We have the S&P's up 20 points right now, but as our man Basil Chapman says, the day is young. We jump over to some of the FANG stocks. So there's a give up, man. Just like that, Microsoft gives up $5 from where it was trading. Look at that. Amazon shares right now still up by 1.5%. Nvidia hanging on to another 4% gain. Yeah, Netflix, man. Look at that. It's a big deal, folks. It is a big deal in terms of what Netflix did. I think they're going to take in a monumental amount of money. If you haven't seen it, next time you log into Netflix, man, you're going to get a notification that says, identify this as your home network. You identify it as your home network. Guess what? Everybody else that's logging in somewhere else, they're probably going to get the boot. And you're going to have to re-log in, whatever it's going to be. And I think it's going to be something that a lot of people have whether it's children, whether it's parents, sisters, brothers, friends that are using their accounts, they're going to figure out ways to add that money extra and make that happen. And guess what? The market agrees because you just traded up more than 10% from where you were Friday when this thing started. And that's not a small number, folks. When you look at Netflix, you're talking about a $178 billion company. They just added almost $20 billion to their market cap from where it was trading on Friday morning, which is remarkable, to say the least. Yeah. All right, what else we got pulled up here? Let's see. We talked about Cathie Wood and NVIDIA. We talked about sales multiples. What else we got coming on? Jamie Dimon, the debt ceiling. We talked about homes. Yeah, Florida, man. It is a bummer, folks. You know, and this gets so political, which is unfortunate. Can't go a weekend, man. Can't go a day. Memorial Day, 9 injured in a shooting right near Hollywood, Florida. As it broke out, you got 4 children between the ages of 1 and 17 hit. And this is Bloomberg, man, okay? And I know Bloomberg, Michael Bloomberg, whatever you want to say, man, this is everywhere, okay? So it's unfortunate, the politics of things, Florida especially, man. Talk a little bit more about that when we get back, but stay tuned, folks. We got the S&P's up by 20 right now. Markets holding on to the gains. We'll be back in 3 minutes, folks.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The Gold Report. As a precious metal, gold is still king. It continues to hold the most effective safe haven and hedging properties across the global major trading hubs of the London OTC market, the U.S. futures market, and the Shanghai Gold Exchange. The Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his weekly gold report every Monday morning for subscribers. consisting of coverage of the XAU, HUI, GDX, the dollar, bonds, the South African rand, as well as 25 different mining equities with specific buy-sell recommendations. The Gold Report. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. Subscribe to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report newsletter now at TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&P right now up about 21 points. You get the NASDAQ 100 up 206, Dow negative by 64 points. As Kevin said, to kick things off, man, we got tech stocks driving this market higher. You jump over Amazon, gives it up a bit on the open, but still up by 1.2% right now. You jump over to Microsoft shares, up 0.7% right now. Apple shares up by 1.6%. Netflix up almost 5%, even though these give back $10 from where they were on the open. NVIDIA shares up 5.8%. Look at that, man. Jumping back to Netflix for a second. Well, you just got a $10 bargain from where it was at 405, so be careful chasing this thing. Longer term, though, folks, longer term, yeah, I imagine that they are going to get a plethora of revenue, because if you see that Stark notification, haven't pulled up Netflix in a while, folks, pull it up just to see it for yourself, because, boy, you see it. If you have anybody else on your account that's using it, you will realize that they're probably going to be using it, and you might end up paying for it. Back to the gun deal, okay? And I'm not going to spend forever because it gets so politicized, and this isn't about politics, folks. I live in Florida. You go to the beach, man, 4 kids are getting shot in Hollywood because guns are everywhere. And unfortunately, guns are everywhere, okay? No one's getting their guns taken away. That's not what it's about. Guns aren't going away. We're not having some argument that's not based in reality. But there are certain things you can do. And one of the things in Florida, okay, as DeSantis launches his presidential campaign, and listen, from a Republican side, I hope Trump is out and DeSantis takes him out, because it can't get much worse than Trump for obvious reasons, in my opinion, okay? But the gun deal, okay, as somebody with a 2-year-old in the house, a 6-year-old in the house, and a 16-year-old in the house, 2, 6, and 16 kids, okay? What I don't understand, folks, is that you have something like the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting that took place in Florida, okay? That took place in February of 2018. At the time, we had a Republican legislature with the Republican Governor Rick Scott. It happened in February of 2018, folks, okay? And they said, you know what? One of the things that we can do is that we can make sure that kids who are 19 years old can't get their hands on AR assault rifles, okay? So they pushed the limit from 18 to 21 5 years ago in light of so many children getting killed by a 19-year-old who had an access to an AR-15. You know, I know that usually time will allow you to forget things that happened and the reason that you did things, but it's usually not that so many kids get slaughtered and within 5 years from a Republican-controlled legislature saying one of the reasonable things we can do with guns is push back the limit between 18 to 21 to buy an assault rifle. And it's really disheartening that in Florida, they rolled that back, okay? That makes no sense to me. And in a reasonable world, I think it would make no sense to you too that is something that we can't do. 18 to 21-year-olds buying assault rifles. The law was passed on the heels of a horrible school shooting by a 19-year-old, okay? And folks, if you can think back to your mentality between when you're 17, 18, 19, I was having a discussion over there last week saying, really, once you get almost like 25, I mean, you're doing crazy things up until we're here, your mid-20s, man. Your brain is just not mature enough to handle many things. If you put yourself in the mentality of that time, social media probably makes things a million times worse. So let's have some reasonable discussions, man, okay? And don't be afraid to talk about it because you get shouted down by the crazies on both sides saying, don't you dare talk about, anything we can do to make sure that kids aren't getting killed, because you can't keep me quiet when it comes to that, okay? And you can't be shamed into that, folks, because a lot of people try and shame you into not being able to discuss reasonable things. Shouldn't be political. I don't understand why kids get slaughtered, and 5 years later, we roll back the law that Republicans put in place right on the heels of that. 5 years, okay? Now, it goes further than that because now we have the permitless carry in Florida. Now, what I don't understand on that aspect, okay, and this one gets more entrenched, right? There's some things that make more sense. There's some that get more political. There's gun right activists, okay? And listen, I got no problem with anybody that wants to own a gun. I get it, man, okay? Especially when you're living in Florida and guns are everywhere. But there's reasonable things. What I don't understand on the permitless carry is even like cops, right? Let's say you get pulled over. Do people even know what they're supposed to do? Do you have any idea if you don't have to take anything to have a permit? There's reasonable things you can do, man. People should have some type of, whether it's a small class, if you're going to be carrying around a gun everywhere for a permit, okay? Because where are the police in this? They're saying, hey, man, we don't want everybody carrying around guns, because what happens when we pull them over? I mean, I assume, and I don't know this at first, that you're supposed to immediately identify with the police. We've all seen the videos, right, that you're holding a gun. Maybe it's strapped to your hip. You're supposed to tell them. None of that's in place, man. It is a recipe for disaster now. So stuff happens like this, okay? And I don't know if this was preventable. I don't know anything. But think about those reasonable things, folks, okay? I know it's a stock show, man, but this stuff, it's everywhere. You can't get around it. You got 4 kids getting shot, okay? And think about the reasonable things, because that deal with making sure that kids who are 18, 19, and 20 can buy assault rifles that DeSantis and Republicans just put in place in Florida, it makes no sense, and it will probably cost lives. And I don't believe in that, man. And I struggle to understand how you can on the heels of what had happened. So we'll leave it at that, man. We'll jump around to China, okay? Diamond confronts new China reality in the first visit since COVID. Now, I was reading another article, folks, about China today that's talking about maybe 45 million people a day are getting COVID over there. You talk about mind-blowing on that one, okay? So China's got its own deal going on, to say the least. Look at Netflix give it up as we do that. Let's jump to Mr. J.P. Morgan, Mr. Diamond. Down about 0.3%. We got the Dow a little bit lower, so you're going to see some negative action there. But you jump over. He is going to be at J.P. Morgan Chase's China Summit this tomorrow. Yeah, he'll be confronting a business landscape that looks vastly different from his visit a year ago. Now we jump from that story to this story. Talking about China's fading recovery reveals a deeper economic struggles, and you saw the chart there. How about the real gross domestic product, the annual change? Do you see a trend on that chart, man? Take COVID out of it. All that's happened is we've just picked up right where we left off, folks, and we're not talking about 10, 15, 7, 5% anymore. What are we talking about? We're talking about 2 to 3%. Yeah. Instead of expanding at 6 to 8% a year, which was a common in the past, and I'm talking about common in the past like 10 years ago, okay? An aging population, a shrinking workforce, you're talking about growth at 2 to 3%. And I'm going to find that article that talks about COVID too, because in the short term, that's going to complicate things, man. And you look at their shrinking population, India is the deal, man. India is the deal, to say the least. Yeah, we'll see where we go from there. But pretty remarkable when you talk about China versus India, the population pyramids, where we're going. Oh, come on. That was just there. That was perfect. All right, we'll pull it back. India is the deal, folks. And China, not so much. And we're going to see. Market gives up a couple points right now. We're trading at 42.31 in the S&Ps. We're about 10 points higher coming into the open. Yeah, be careful in this market, folks, because there's a lot of optimism in here. You talking about companies like NVIDIA that are up 7% today. And meanwhile, they're going to have to take in revenue for 25 years and take every dollar that they take in to the bottom line to rationalize the market cap that they're dealing with right now, which is, we're almost at $1 trillion, I think. There we are. You got another $1 trillion company in NVIDIA, man. Pop the champagne. $1.03 trillion. All right, folks, one more segment. Stay tuned. We'll talk a little bit of China as well when we get back.
TFNN has just launched their new trading room, the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. And now they are expanding their reach with the Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. In the Tiger's Den, you can look over the shoulders of Tom O'Brien and the other TFNN hosts while they analyze charts during their live Tiger TV programs, and join an interactive trading community with hundreds of members exchanging ideas. Interact with other tigers and tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day, even at night and on the weekends. The Tiger's Den at Discord is accessible on mobile or tablets as well, so it's always at your reach. To sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders, just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. Market's fading a bit. You still got the NASDAQ 100 up about 0.7%. Interesting. Where do we sit in the NASDAQ 100? At the 618. The entire move in terms of where we went down, 16,700 down to below 11,000. We've reclaimed a lot of that, but just sitting right at that 618, man. S&Ps. Let's see where we are in the pullback here out of curiosity in the S&Ps real quick. Yeah, just above the 50% potential in the S&Ps. We've got a little bit of weakness right now. A lot of optimism in this market. Do we trade to 4,300 or 4,400 when we finally get a deal? I mean, what's the risk reward on either side here right now? Seems like risk is to the downside. I know I've been saying it, but lofty levels in the S&P at 4224 as AI going to take over the world, right? Let's jump to that China article I was talking about. Here it is. So this is the article. When's it out? Yesterday from Time. Take it for what it's worth, but China might have and it's a week, not a day. 65 million COVID cases a week by June. Well, June starts in 2 days, folks. How worried should you be? Don't be that worried. Everything will be okay. But nonetheless, it may have an impact, man. I just showed you the GDP numbers for China. They've already had one wave. There's going to be a level of natural immunity within the community. And you're going to have vaccines that are rolled out for this XBB variant that's been fueling that acceleration since April, but they got another wave, man. It's happening right now. The numbers they're dealing with right now, they're looking at something like, no, that's not the number. Yeah. So you're looking at about 40 million infections weekly by May, going up to 65 million potentially in June. This is all speculation. We'll see where it goes, but that is hanging out there, folks. What else is hanging out there? A week from tomorrow. No, week from Thursday. Tim Ward, okay, if you've heard him on with my dad, if you heard him on with our man Dave White for the longest time as well, he is doing a couple webinars, folks. I encourage you to check it out. He's got an S&P trading webinar, a gold trading webinar. He's going to walk you through his methodology, how he trades the S&P, how he trades gold. He uses a different methodology and different indicators for each one, which is why he separated it. You can get either webinar. It's live. It's a 2-hour webinar, okay? $295 for either webinar. You can save $100, get them both for $495. That's 2 weeks from Thursday. A week from Thursday is June 8th. 2 weeks from Thursday is June 15th. Check it out on the front page of TFNN. Have a great Tuesday, everybody. Stay tuned. We got our man Basil Chapman coming up next. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great one.